Greetings, salutations, everybody. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be doing a review, my final thoughts of my SCX Xray. And we're going to be pretty much going through pros and cons, electronics, all that stuff. So first things first, as you can see, bug body shell, it does fit on there. It does like to rub right along here, so just kind of be wary about that. It did kind of start cracking a little bit right here. So anyway, let's get on to the actual goodies of the car. Whoops. Drop body shell there a little bit. So first things first, electronics. So electronics that I have in here are a Savox servo, which I can actually, the torque setting is for about 25 kilograms. I can actually show you guys right there, all the measurements and whatnot. Hopefully you guys can see that. So put it up there for a good while for you guys. But yeah, it's a Savox waterproof steering servo. ESC is a Mamba X. And then the motor is a 3800 kV. Receiver is a Spectrum receiver and radio, DX3. This is kind of like an RTR radio for Spectrum. And it works pretty good, I must say. You can do all your adjustments and whatnot on it. This setup looks kind of familiar. Yes, this is actually from my Stampede 4x4, aka Stumpy. Same electronics. I pretty much took all the guts out of it, put them in here, and they worked really, really well. And pretty much fluids, so shock fluids are pretty much as they came in the kit. I'll probably put what exactly fluids I put in there. I can't remember at the top of my head. Diff fluid is 5000 CTS. The stuff that you get in the kit. And also I put a sway bar on here. This is the same sway bar that you can get from the sway bar kit that you can put on this thing. It does not come with the vehicle. And tires are a Proline Prism in the rear and J Concept in the front. The pills in the back are zeroed out. So pretty much the neutral standpoint, you'll just see like a little circle on the pills. They're front and rear. It was just kind of a temporary thing. I wanted to tune up for it. Front pills are about 2.5. And this and the rear hubs as well are neutral, so they are pretty much even. No adjustable height right there. They are pretty much right at the middle. So, pros and cons. For the pros, let's get the pros out of the way because the cons is it's a list. Handles excellently. It handled around the corner. When this thing was actually running, it was running good. Like, it was running really, really good. It was handled like no tomorrow. Smile ear to ear, all that stuff. Another pro is ease of tuning. This thing is actually pretty easy to tune. Probably the little bit most difficult thing to tune on this thing is probably the diff. Just trying to take all this stuff off just to get to the diff. I mean, you got to take off this right here. Make sure, yeah. You got to take this off right here, the whole bumper, not the bottom part. You don't have to take the bottom part off. I know I said in my last video, do not take, I said go ahead and take off those two bottom screws, if I can focus on there. Yeah, see those two bottom screws right there? On the shock tower, do not take those off. What your transmission will pretty much do is unbind and bind and mess up your transmission. Yeah, and it also is very easy to build. Like the whole build itself was pretty easy. The only thing I said in my last video that I had really trouble with is kind of the long screws that they have for it. So, and then we have the cons, and the cons has to do with the transmission, funny enough, but I have that for the last one because it's a wee bit of a rant. Just a wee one, that's all. So first one, I don't like how they have the slipper clutch kind of shrouds right there to hold the slipper pads on. Let's see if you can see those little shrouds right there that are holding onto the slipper pad. I wish they had a little bit more length to them because getting this thing right was pretty tricky. I'm not gonna lie. It wanted to keep slipping, like the front pad wanted to keep slipping off and scraping my slipper pad like no tomorrow. Another thing, but that's about it. I finally got it figured out. Pretty much good way to do it is set your vehicle like this and have it on your lap and have the tire off, obviously, and pretty much line that sucker up and hold it down from top to bottom. Put your stuff on there very carefully, make sure it doesn't slip off, and tighten that sucker down and quarter turn off. That's pretty much what I did for my slipper clutch. Battery tray, I wish there was a little bit of a better design for this battery tray. It pretty much involves screws, adjusting your battery height and whatnot. But it does hold down. That's a good thing, but I hope in the future they do change to a different battery mount system. Let's see. Another thing I kind of had, and I talked to some Xray drivers, and apparently they also had the kind of same problem. Their steering linkage kind of coming loose. Last time I had this out, though, it looks like it didn't come loose. Yeah, there's no slap in there whatsoever. So one of the Xray drivers actually took a screwdriver and actually took it to the back of here. I believe it was like a 1.5 or something like that, and a 2.0. Yeah, I think that's a 2.0 screw right there. And pretty much tightened it down, and it hasn't came undone since. And now for the big gripe. So, this transmission, I have rebuilt this thing 3 times. And one of the times was actually involving those 2 bottom screws down there. I was like, okay, that's my fault. I messed up the transmission. So we replaced the diff, not the idler gear on the inside, because it was fine. We looked in there, we wheeled this thing around while it was free spinning, and it looked fine. And then I took it out again. It was completely silent. We put marine grease in there. It was fine for like 4 minutes, and then it started clicking again. Same clicking that it went out with when it was bad. So, and then I was like, okay, and we took it apart, and the idler gear was missing 3 gears, 3 teeth off of it, and then the diff was actually missing 1 tooth off of it. I was like, oh, great. And so I got a better graphite diff and a normal idler gear. And we thought we finally fixed it. You know, I went through 1 solid pack through this thing, and it was running great. Like, awesome. The handling was just great. But then the second pack came, and it started making the clicking noise again. And I don't know. I'm like, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty bad con right there. It's not like I'm over driving it by a big, humongous motor. This is a 3800 kV, which is actually Castle's. I'll even show you the box here. Castle's ST motor, and it even says it is made for short course trucks. And that's what the SCT means. And you can see mine is right there. You can see that. And you can see the description right there. I'll even leave it for you to read. Okay. And it's even censored too. That's another thing. So, we do have another person who owns this at the track. His runs fine. I don't know. Maybe he put some sort of different material in there or something, but I put a graphite diff in this thing and it still made the clicking noise. So I think that's pretty much about it. You know, if you guys get this, and if you don't have any troubles, cool, man, awesome. But if you do have troubles, don't be afraid to leave the comments down below for feedback. I kind of am curious if I'm the only one that has this. So, and if you like what you saw in the review, don't be afraid to like and subscribe. We're all friends here. And I do have a Twitter where I like to post stuff kind of a little bit ahead of time, or just kind of an extra notification in case of the notifications on YouTube are kind of being a little finicky. And yeah, I think that's about it. So, as always, have a good one.